Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alibi Records artist, The Nasty Bits.
The idea of having a band at the level of the Nasty Bits opening for the New York Dolls is a huge thing. They don't have an album out, they have an album about to be released, they're a new band, and this is something that Richie's been able to engineer for them by calling in some favors. The Academy of Music was a relatively mid-sized venue in Union Square in New York City, and it was a really popular place. And the idea that a band like the Bits could open for the New York Dolls was a very big thing for them. Because the Nasty Bits song Woman Like You contains lyrics that were certainly not suitable at the time for radio airplay, and not even suitable to be performed in public because they contain a lot of curse words, Richie realized that he had an opportunity for huge publicity. If somebody were to call and complain about this band who was up there performing obscene lyrics, he could have them arrested technically. So he himself made the complaint, maybe called in a few favors to get these guys arrested in the middle of their performance, thereby creating an even bigger stir than the band would have done normally. So not only did the band open for the Dolls, do really well, perform a kick-ass song, in the middle of the show, the police stormed the stage and arrested the band, which is publicity you couldn't pay for. The press that these guys got was tremendous. So by the time we picked them up by the night of the launch party for Alibi Records, the reviews are out, and this band has now caused a much bigger stir than they would have normally.
Thank you, Mr. Glasso, for seeing me.
Hey, for a friend, I'll always make time.
Now that Zach realized the extent of Richie's betrayal, that Richie is actually the one who lost the $90,000 in Vegas, that's the straw that broke the camel's back for him. He realizes he cannot trust this guy. The guy's a drug addict, he's a liar, he's a total prick. So Zach realizes that being in business with this guy and now also owing money to a mobster can be really dangerous. I'm gonna go to Galasso and appeal to him as a businessman and tell him the truth.
The reason we came for the loan in the first place was because Richie lost $90,000 of our company's money in Las Vegas, which he then tried to blame on me.
I'm really sorry to be hearing all this.
Zach feels really good about that meeting, thinking they connected and this guy is reasonable. And of course, what he doesn't realize, because he's not nearly as street smart as Richie, is he could not have said a worse thing to this guy. So when Zach comes into Richie's office and Galasso is there, having already met with Richie, Zach assumes Galasso's on his side when in fact he's not on either of their sides.
In what universe you think I give a shit who runs this company? I got a chop shop by Yankee Stadium. Use it to crush stolen cars. You're lucky you're not in the trunk of one of them.
And Corso's proven himself to be a big mouth, kind of a loose cannon, says the wrong thing, speaks out of turn, and this is a quality, of course, for a gangster that is not only unappealing, but can be very dangerous. In this situation, Corso's in the office when Galasso admits he had a chop shop, and suddenly that night, the chop shop is raided. So Galasso thinks it's very coincidental. To his mind, doing the math, one of these guys tipped off the cops. When he confronts Richie, Zach, and Corso about it, Zach innocently says he didn't tell anybody, and Corso, once again, says the wrong thing, starts to blab about something he shouldn't be talking about, which is the murder of Buck Rogers. He's now inadvertently made Galasso an accessory after the fact. Galasso knows about a murder now. It's the last thing he needs, and this for him is the final straw. He knows Corso's a big mouth. Anytime this guy can say something that's gonna end up biting him in the ass, and out of anger and frustration, has Corso killed. And sends Richie and Zach a very big message about who they're dealing with and who they shouldn't be screwing around with.
This is what happens. You understand?
The Bits may be short on experience, but they more than make up for it with swagger and the music, which, let's face it, is what it's all about.
On the heels of the Nasty Bits performance and the great reviews they received, Richie realizes that he did the right thing in not selling the company. His plan worked. The idea is that he is going to now take part in something that's going to have a massive change in music. They're going to go back to the kind of music that made kids feel connected, the same feeling that they got when they listened to rock and roll when they were kids. That music really can connect to a kid and connect to a person in a big way, and it can really in some ways save your life.
Every generation is full of lost kids who need to hear that they're not alone.
And in a way of showing that things have changed, and it's not just lip service, that American century has reached a new day, they're gonna change everything from top to bottom. And to take that energy that rock and roll represents and that violence and that craziness, and they're gonna fuck that office up. And it's actually Julie Silver, who didn't really connect to the Nasty Bits music at first and didn't really understand it, who sort of throws the first grenade. He's the first one who spray paints those words. And it spreads like wildfire. It's kind of a riot in the office. And the season ends with people sort of destroying the place and really reinventing it and turning it upside down. Richie sort of stands back, watches, very pleased and happy that his vision is being executed. And there's a little moment between him and Zach, and we're not really sure what the future's gonna hold for these guys, but Richie got what he wanted, and the mayhem continues, and we're out of season 1 and on to the future.